Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today we'll be discussing this, the Sony a7S III. It's also the camera that's currently filming me, and I wanted to make an update video on this amazing camera and why I got a second one. So if you remember back when I got my original a7S III, it was a total game changer for me. I absolutely loved it. I fell in love with shooting content again, and it really felt like the perfect camera for me. A little while later, I got the a7 IV, and that was sort of like my favorite, hybrid camera. But moving on, when I went to my Bali trip, I decided to take my a7S III and really give it a proper try. I was thinking about the Bali weather being quite hot, 29 degrees, very humid. I was worried that the a7 IV wouldn't be able to keep up and may overheat. The a7S III performed absolutely flawlessly. It really blew me away. On the humid days, the hot days, the rainy days, it literally held through every time, never skipped a beat. It's honestly been my favorite camera to date, and I've honestly owned a lot of cameras. I've had the Canon R5, I've had the Canon R6, I've had the a7 IV, I've moved to a range of different cameras, tested them out and saw what I really liked, and this one I've always come back to and said it is really the best mirrorless camera on the market to date. I really do believe that for value in terms of what you get in return, this really is the best camera. You have obviously the FX3, which is the same sensor, just a different body, but in my opinion, the extra couple grand doesn't pay off or justify the FX3. Sure, it has those firmware updates, which I've touched on, and it would be amazing to have it on the a7S III, and hopefully Sony's listening, because Gerald Undone, Philip Bloom has made comments on these. These are big, Sony users as well. It should be implemented in the camera, and hopefully it will be, but it's not the end of the world. The a7S III is still a very super capable camera, and that is one of the reasons I picked up another one to have in my kit. The a7S III, what I realized moving forward now and how I've been using it more, is the fact that it could really well be a perfect hybrid camera. It really is an all-round workhorse of a camera. And I know what you're thinking, but look, Adrian, it only has 12 megapixel sensor, right? Like, it's only 12 megapixels. It's not great for, blowing up prints or whatever. I would argue that's absolutely false. People have been fixated on this idea that, the prints have to be like, at least 30 megapixels, or the more megapixels, the better. It's absolute garbage, guys. I'm going to tell you that right now. Now, with new software and updates on, Lightroom and Photoshop, you're able to obviously, double the megapixels and kind of enhance it a little bit. But even without that, 12 megapixels is more than enough. The way that it kind of works is when you do a print, as long as you're a little distant away from them, you'll be able to never see the pixelated image. Obviously, if you go right up to it and you're sort of like, looking at it like this, you'll see all the pixels. But then again, you can always see that on a high resolution photo as well. But the further you're away, that's sort of like the trick, that's sort of the illusion. You'll never see the pixels. You won't even know the difference between the fact that that's an a7S III image or an A1 image. You really won't know the difference when it comes to printing. And it also depends what kind of printing you want to do. But more on that another time. My point is, the a7S III I really do find to be the perfect camera. I still have the a7 primarily for weddings and stuff like that, because I want to crop in. But if you're not looking at cropping in and you want something for fast social media production when you're on the go, the a7S III honestly is an incredible camera. And it is super capable. Obviously, it has the 4K native sensor. You can shoot 4K 60, you can shoot 4K 120, and I've honestly loved every moment with this camera. I don't shoot a whole lot of 120p slow motion, but the fact that we have that as an option is incredible. I actually used it on this recent shoot, just doing this little promo vid, and I'll show it on the screen here so you can have a little look. It's for an upcoming video, but yeah, the 120 is great. And speaking of SD cards for the higher resolution things, for the most part, you can get away with a V60. I have a couple V90 cards, which you honestly don't actually need. A V60, 128, 256, or a 512GB SD card is more than enough to run you all the settings. The only thing you can't really use is the all-intra codec, which really you don't necessarily need unless you're doing a lot of fast motion, panning, movement shots. If it's more static, like this talking head, and there's a little bit of panning, using the a7SIII, you won't need anything higher. With that being said, I honestly love the a7S III. I don't regret at all taking it on my Bali trip, and I think moving forward I'll definitely be using this camera for all my travel trips. It handles super well, and I know that whatever I throw at it, it'll be able to handle it perfectly well. With that being said, I highly recommend this camera even in this year of 2022 and moving on to 2023. It's definitely a superb camera, and that's why you might have noticed when this camera was originally released how many YouTubers moved and made the switch to the a7S III, and there's a good reason for it. It's a super great camera. There's no overheating issues, no time limit, the sensor's amazing, the low light capabilities, nothing even comes close to this. This is honestly the low light king, and there's a reason for it and why it has its name and the price it is at and why people choose this camera. So in all, I still recommend this camera after a year of using it. That's why I have a second body as well, and will continue to make videos with this, so stay tuned on that, and I'll definitely cover more topics in future videos regarding this amazing camera. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please give it a like. It really does help the channel, and as always, I will see you guys on the next one. Stay safe, stay well, see you guys soon.